One of the biggest concerns on golf courses with a lot of these new products coming onto the market is how far they track and how far they move with rainfall or irrigation. So I was wondering if you could just expand on that subject a little bit.
A couple things about Specticle I think turfgrass managers need to know here in Australia. One is it has a real strength on Poa, and I know you guys have a lot of interest in Poa Annua control in Bermuda, so it's very, very good on Poa. It does behave a little bit differently than some of the other pre-emergents, so there's some precautions related to Specticle that we have to pay attention to that we don't have to pay attention to things like Ronstar, Barricade, pendimethalin. And one of those, as you mentioned, is lateral movement. Specticle is slightly mobile. We've seen it move 3-4 meters. It doesn't move like something like Curb, which can move 100 meters. But it will, if you use it upslope of cool season grasses, it is a hazard. So we don't recommend it upslope of any desirable cool season grasses. What kind of buffer do you need to have? Well, like I say, we've seen it move generally 3-4 meters. What a lot of our superintendents in the U.S. do is they'll use something else around their bent grass greens, Ronstar, Barricade, whatever, out to a safe zone, and then they'll start using Specticle. I think that's the safe ground to use with Specticle in terms of lateral movement. In terms of tracking, we just haven't seen much tracking with Specticle. So let's just relate Specticle for a second from a use standpoint to a sulfonylurea. The movement, the precautions that you have with sulfonylureas around bent grass, those would be the same types of precautions I would use with Specticle. So you're used to using sulfonylureas. I would use the same precautions. Okay. In terms of tracking, I'm not going to say Specticle won't track, but I've never seen it. I just don't think the tracking issue with Specticle is the same as it is with sulfonylureas. So I'm not going to say totally disregard it, but I am going to say that it should not be an issue.
So given that tracking isn't really an issue at this stage, it's a low risk, how important is it to wash in immediately?
Specticle has a wider window for watering in. You can water it in right away, but it's not necessary. It has a window for watering it in. So, I wouldn't worry about, it does not have the same issues with watering in like something like Curb or pendimethalin or Dimension. It's got to eventually be watered in, but it's not critical that it be watered in right away. It's a relatively non-volatile product, so you have a window there.
What about using the product during really dry weather? You've got stressed turf or injury from cart damage or something like that. How much is it going to hold back the desirable turf species? Specticle is an issue when it comes to using it on stressed turf. The really positives about Specticle is it's the best I've ever seen on Poa Annua. It's probably better than Ronstar on goosegrass, but we could debate that. But it's very good on goosegrass. It's good on summergrass, but a lot of products are good on summergrass. Some of the issues with Specticle that we'll have to take into account here in Australia is the lateral movement, which we have already talked about. Just take this whole issue of stress in a broad category. Shade, that's stress on Bermuda. Whatever reason, drought stress, whatever reason, you don't want to be using Specticle in those situations. So just think about stress. If your Bermuda is stress in a certain area, that is not a candidate for Specticle use.